Hello, my name is Robert. I am 33 years old, and I live in McAllen, in rural Texas. I am going to share a story that happened to my Uncle Victor when he was 18 years old, along with my grandfather, on an isolated farm near Amarillo. I will tell everything based on the details my uncle shared with me. This happened in the 1970s, so I wasn't born yet. My uncle says he remembers every moment of that day, and I truly believe him because it's hard to forget something so terrifying. My Uncle Victor is the eldest of 4 children, including my father, who was only 15 at the time. My grandfather, Mr. Richard, was a very strict man and demanded a lot from my uncle, especially because he was the oldest. He tried to teach them all to be hardworking, but sometimes he did so in a misguided way. My father still holds some resentment for some of his actions. My grandfather was always a very upright and responsible person, especially when it came to his children's work and studies. Everyone in the family woke up very early to go to school. As for my uncle, who had already finished his studies, he started helping on the farm. When he turned 18, he got his first job there. The farm wasn't very large, but it was medium-sized, with many animals and some crops. They were responsible for taking care of the cattle, horses, pigs, chickens, and sheep. The work was hard and repetitive, but he enjoyed riding horses. However, everything was about to change, unexpectedly. That day, everything seemed normal, but my uncle felt a strange uneasiness. When they got near the sheep pen, they noticed the animals were agitated. One even attacked my uncle, okay? As they walked around the enclosure, they noticed part of it was damaged and had strange scratches. My grandfather commented that there might be an animal roaming the area, possibly a puma or a coyote, which were common in that region at the time. That night, while making their rounds on the farm, they noticed the dogs were eerily silent. As they passed by the sheep pen, they saw that the animals were huddled in a corner. That was when they spotted a dark silhouette crouching near the bushes. One of the boss's dogs ran toward the figure, growling, but just seconds later, they heard a painful yelp from the dog, which then ran away in fear. My grandfather decided to get closer, holding a flashlight and a machete. Suddenly, a deep growl echoed through the night. The sound was guttural, something that didn't seem natural. The sheep panicked and started slamming against the fence. When my grandfather shined the flashlight at the bushes, the creature stood up. It was a hairy being with glowing yellow eyes and a posture that resembled a hybrid between a man and an animal. It placed its front paws on the fence and stared at my grandfather. The beast growled, showing its sharp teeth. A few seconds later, it disappeared into the bushes. As soon after, it came charging toward my grandfather. He threw the flashlight at the creature, causing it to fall to the ground, writhing. My uncle, without thinking twice, grabbed a hoe and drove it into the monster's back. The creature let out a deafening scream, pulled the hoe out of its body, and fled into the woods. They could still hear its cries of pain echoing through the night. Frightened, they returned home and decided to tell only my grandmother what had happened. On the farm, they said they had scared off a puma. As a reward, they got a day off and a sheep, which my grandfather chose to keep rather than slaughter. From then on, the creature never appeared again, and no one heard of any attacks in the area. However, my uncle never forgot that night.